to Japan, because Japan has really mastered the art of utilizing blood types to hire people and to match with people as far as mating. They won't. They know that O's are strong leaders, and if they want a good leader in their group, they know to hire O's. Whenever they need someone who is really good in mathematics, science, or very finite things that require more critical or more specific type of studies or whatever their field is, they know to hire B's. A's, they know, are great at really doing things with nature or art or things like that. So they really have mastered. You can look into this. It's actually quite fascinating how the Japanese have broken it down. Okay, you should take a look at how they kind of set up their whole system and how it works for them. They aren't getting children that are non-cohesive because they know that blood types matter, and hiring people with the level of mastery that is inside of their Akashic records, like having someone work at their job who has specific skill set that their ancestors did really well at, it only makes their society more advanced and more cohesive. So you should check out the Japanese. They really mastered that. I really have an appreciation for them really taking that in consideration and really making their society based on blood types, because species and blood types matter, okay? All right, so let me talk about the Cabbage Patch children. Now, let me explain this, y'all. People always talk about cloning. Remember, I was kicked off 50 million times on YouTube for even mentioning cloning? Remember? Back when they didn't even want you mentioning the word clone, and then you were just like, everything was weaponized against you? Well, this is something, and I would really challenge, because it's what I know. And I think I'm pretty proficient in this, but I'm always open to hearing from our other researchers, those who work in genetics and heredity, and who have more proficiency even than myself. So I'm open to this. It's amazing to me that you can go online all over, and they will tell you that O negatives cannot be cloned. Now, what makes this really hilarious is because if I go to a museum and I have an original, right? I have an original Mona Lisa, right? Beautiful. I don't think Mona Lisa is beautiful, but just for conversation, I have Mona Lisa, right? And I have that beautiful artwork, the original. Whenever I make a copy of that, it changes the charge of it, so to speak. So by the nature of negative being because remember, who named it negative and who named it positive? A negative charge lets me know that it has already come from something replicated. Okay? It's been cloned. You cannot clone a positive roost without it changing into something negative. Okay? So if you clone a positive roost, it's going to automatically change into something negative. Okay? Are all O negatives clones? No. But clones are all O negative. Listen to what I said. Please do not get personalized and gaslit. Listen to exactly what I said. Can you clone it? Are all clones negative? No. But by the nature of it being, wait. By the nature of it being replicated, it automatically will be negative. Okay? So not every negative is cloned, but all clones will be negative roosts. I'm sorry. It takes me a minute to think about it in my head. Okay? Okay. Mina, you're out of here. Listen, they've got the NPCs here. They got all the NPCs coming in, y'all. The clones are coming in here right now because I mentioned them. The clones are coming in. The clones are coming in the live. The clones are coming. Hold on. Hey. Okay. That's why all of your political representatives are all O negative. You don't think that's weird? If you want to, I'm just saying, do you think that's weird? Why is it a point that you can have every country, every political system, every position of power? How come their preference is all O negatives? Do you ask yourself that question? So if I'm lying, you got to ask yourself why. Okay? Now, in terms of the Cabbage Patch children, the mud flood children, the orphan trains, they only had 4 to 5 generations of decent DNA to be able to replicate themselves. Okay? Whenever you have something that is a anomaly of some sort that's created in a laboratory, it doesn't have a lot of dexterity, like strength in its DNA, its chromosomal makeup. Okay? It doesn't. That's why you might be getting all these weird kind of things happening now, because they're at the end of their reproduction cycle. That's probably why they can't give birth to babies anymore. If you notice, like they'll say, "Oh, it's the food." What I'm sure they're adding to it, but do they talk about the fact that a lot of these so-called hybrids that they created in a laboratory in a cabbage, or the orphan trains that they put in all those emptied out cities after the last cataclysm and pole shift, these beings only had a certain period of time that they could replicate themselves before they would become a dud genetically. So when you see the population become less pliable or regenerative, I personally think it's because they are the offspring of the mud flood people. And they don't have a long regenerative, they only last for the next cycle, and then they die off. Why do you think they're moving all these other people from all these other countries to move them in to kind of build up the numbers over the United States? Because they don't have as many of them anymore. They can't create children. There's a genetic abnormality that happens when you replicate something. A copy cannot make a proper copy. When you make copies of things, the dexterity, the DNA is not as strong. Okay? Heirlooms, people who have strong DNA that are made naturally, were making love on a mountain, in the rainforest, on the deck, in a bed. You know what I mean? Those people have stronger DNA. And if they've been mating properly and they knew their blood types and they were only having children with the strongest, best, and highest quality DNA mates, they wouldn't have to worry about having children, because they'll be able to have children until the end of the cycle. But, that's if they're not taking Kukarachi kill shots every 5 seconds, or eating a genetically homogenized food that's killing off their testosterone and their estrogen. They're not putting perms and fake hair, plastic hair on their head, ruining their magnetic field. Okay? Scarlett, now really, Scarlett, do you really come in here and ask if I like Palestine? I love anywhere where people are happy and healthy. Okay? It's not even a conversation we're having. I do not agree what's going on in Palestine. I do not agree with it. It is absolutely horrific. And we already know that the Dark Kabbalists are in charge of that. We know that these demons are over there clearing the land so they can access the dam. What is it? The water? The canal? We know what these bastards are doing. I talk about it. Do you see me drinking Starbucks? That's how you know how I feel. Okay? That's all. So just know that. I don't support anywhere where they hurt anybody's children. None. None. If you see, they did it to the natives here. I mean, I don't know why you guys think that these are all demons. And why you ask me if I like do you like the United States? Because the United States is leading what's happening over there in Palestine. You know that, right? Israel is just a participant in what the United States is heading. Okay? United States is a bunch of demons. Okay? They're doing a whole bunch of dirt. They're nasty bastards. Right? So all these Zionists and all these crazy people, they're mentally ill, and a lot of them are hybrids. They're hybrids. Okay? Oh, hold on. I've got company. Hold on. Yes? Okay. Yeah, they're a whole bunch of hybrids. I don't even know if those beings are real. Anybody who could shoot a child in the head while the mother's running with them, those are not humans. Okay? Those are bioborgs. I don't even know if those are like Borgs over there shooting those children. Okay? And I don't know what's going on, but I just know that it's not new. And they've been doing it for a long time. They're doing it in the Congo. They're doing it in Palestine. They're doing it in the United Fakes, because you know they all over here right now. They're doing it. They did it in Sudan. They're still doing it in Sudan. Where else are they killing off people? Who else are they killing off? They're killing off everybody on this planet, y'all. What they're doing in Palestine is what they did over here in the United Fakes. It's disgusting. And you know why they're doing it? Because they want, there's probably a portal over there. We don't even know. There might be a Stargate. I never even looked into Palestine, ancient Palestine. There's probably a Stargate over there. We don't know. There's a lot of things going on that we can't see. We can only see from the angle of what's taught to us on television, okay? So don't bring up all these things. I don't like anywhere that hurts anybody, okay? And I won't support any country, any person, including the one I'm living in, that is hurting children. And y'all are talking about it's Israel. Do you know who's heading Israel? It's United Fakes. You know the people who like to dig tunnels over in Brooklyn? Okay? Those people. Okay. So none of them are human. So I don't really get involved in that. Because that's a whole conversation on, if we're going to talk about Palestine, why don't you bring up the Congo? Why don't you bring up Haiti? Why don't you bring up Sudan? Why don't you bring up what happened over in the middle of Africa? You don't bring up that, right? Okay. Roblox, what's going on? Okay. What's going on, Roblox? If you tell me to shut up, I'll curse you and your entire family. Don't come in here and be disrespectful, because when you say things like that, I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? I'm just letting you know, I give you the warning, because remember, you coming on this feed and you don't know who's on here and you don't know where I come from. If you say things like that, don't get shocked that you have issues. Watch your mouth, okay? I don't know if it was me you were talking to, okay? Okay. If it wasn't, you know, I'll keep it going. Don't hate, appreciate. You reported him, Terry? I don't know. Listen, the bots will come. These are NPCs, y'all. They coming. I put in all the spark words. All the spark words are coming in, y'all. Once you mention all the crazy words, they all start coming in. Anyway, so let's talk about the mud flood children and their offspring. Their offspring are the type of people, listen, you like my outfit. Thank you, Tanya. I'm going back, like, I'm going to do my kid and play. I'm going to go play some 90s music and make me feel good again, okay? When we talk about the mud flood children, you have to understand that these are beings that don't have any consciousness. They're genetically homogenized. They're created in a laboratory under the ground. They haven't any sort of good feeling. They don't feel well about people. They don't have compassion for others. They usually are highly programmed. In their cellular DNA, they're programmed with all of the things. Like, you know when people want to get a certain car? The mud flood people want to get it. If someone is a style, like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know if there's like another style or trends coming up. All the mud flood people, their offspring, they all are, they're like in their DNA, they're capped. So they uphold all the agendas. Any agenda that there is, that's how you could tell they come from mud flood people. They just uphold all the agendas. Whatever the agenda is, oh, we're going to drive Mercedes that are blue today. All of them will drive a blue Mercedes. They're very mind controllable, okay? They don't have compassion. They don't care about what's going on in Palestine. They don't care about what's going on in Congo. They don't care what's happening if your father was hurt or sick because the Cucaracha kill shot. They don't care. But they'll pretend like they care, because they know that if you know that they're lacking empathy and sympathy and they haven't any emotional, they're driven by non-emotions, they'll know that you're onto them. So they'll pretend like they do. So you got to look in their eyes. The eyes are the keys to the soul, you know, the key to the soul. Okay? You got to be careful with the mud flood people. You can't trust them. You know how they used to say, can't trust a big butt and a smile, that girl is poison. No, you can't trust the mud flood offspring. Those are the ones who used to have church service and used to have picnics, where they used to hang brown people with their children and have sandwiches at church, while they would send pamphlets out, and they would hang brown pregnant women while the baby would drop out of the woman's stomach and burn them alive. These are mud flood people, okay? They don't have any compassion. Those are the ones that used to throw little Negro babies into the bayou to catch alligators, to make alligator shoots. Those are mud flood offspring. I want their last names. I've been trying to get all their last names for the longest time. Some of you men, you mating with them and creating children with them and wondering why your children hate themselves. You have children with mudflood people's offspring. That's your fault. And don't come to me and be like, oh, how can, oh, my children are possessed. They're like growling in the middle of the night, climbing up the walls because you slept with a mudflood, a mother freaker. You created an offspring that's some sort of demon. They got all kinds of demonic possession things attached to them. You got her yoni is biting you. You got itches on your balls. Your balls don't work anymore. That's because you're sleeping with the mudflood women. You're so ignorant and so easily coerced by someone's status that you don't even care that you're mating with these demons. That's why I say you mate with these demonic blood lineages. You deserve whatever you get. All these hybrid children walking around saying they hate themselves, they're cutting people, running in malls, robbing people, because you're sleeping with demons. You're sleeping with them reptiles, those nasty mudflood offspring. They don't have any consciousness. Their children are savages. They're cutting people, shooting people in the street. They got a whole bunch of them in Brazil. Brazil is a hot spot for mudflood, like offspring, like all those children up that just go around shooting people and so those are mudflood offspring. Okay. They dumped them all in Brazil. That's why they don't have any conscience. Brazil is beautiful, the most beautiful people. I love them, but they know it's true too. You got some savages over in Brazil, and I personally think, if I had to think about it, those are mudflood offspring. Okay, they just lack consciousness, and then everybody wants to mimic them. You know what I mean? Don't mess with the mudflood. You keep having children with them. Don't come to me or any of the other doctors to help you. You can't help that cellular depreciation. You can't help them. They're climbing, they got possession, you know, her eyes are shape-shifting while you're having sex with her. What's wrong with you? Her eyes are shifting because you getting your rocks off, it's okay, and then your wand's not working anymore. You'd be like, oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, well, because you slept with the god-darn Cabbage Patch offsprings lineage. The children are being born growling out the womb. What's wrong with you? You can't get help for that. Anyway, I'm just saying, when you have children like Dahmer and all that stuff, those are mudflood children. Dahmer coming, he was born cutting up cats, trying to see the organs. You look into their eyes, they're in those mosh pits, banging their heads against the wall. They want to tattoo their faces. Those are all like some sort of hybrid, like non-emotional hybrids. They don't even feel pain. They like to cut themselves all the time. They want to jump off of planes. They don't have a feeling. Stop messing with those mudflood people. Okay, because they don't care about you, and those are the type of people that will hurt you and your offspring. They'll give you offspring that are dark. You want to have happy babies. You want to have babies that giggle when they're born. You want to have babies that are loving and compassionate. You want to have babies that love themselves, that wouldn't take in garbage in their bodies. You sleeping with these demons. Don't come to anybody for help because you have a demonic fetish. You like men and women that are dark. Okay. Yeah, like Blueface and Christian Rock. Those are she's got a mugshot on her face as a tattoo. Who told you who told you to desecrate your body? Like, just the fact that you would even do that lets me know that you're not real. And NPCs is like a program. NPCs could show up as anything. So you got to be careful too, because there's biological organisms that we're interfacing with that are just off, because alchemically and biologically they're not malleable to a healthy system. So they're highly, highly reactive to frequencies. So they're always reacting to like music or if they turn up the 5G frequencies, they react to it negatively. They become like animals. But NPCs is something different. Those are programs. Those are programs inside of the simulation. They're not real. When you walk out of the room, they disappear. They're part of the holographic system. So those are beings that they're going to uphold whatever the AI system projects for them to do. So maybe they're, when you talk to them too, because they loop a lot. NPCs are loopers. You have a conversation yesterday with them. Hey, how you doing? Oh, your mom, da, da, da. You go back the next day, it's the same conversation. Remember when you were like, remember when you went and watched Jumanji? Like Jumanji with The Rock and Kevin Hart, and they jumped into the Jumanji game, and like they change into all these different characters, like their bodies change. But then when they got there, they would meet these NPCs, and like the NPC would just greet them. It would be a greeter. Welcome to Jumanji. Da 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 da. And then it would ask, "Hey man, how do we get through this? How do we do all this?" And then all of a sudden it would be like, "Welcome to Jumanji." Da 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 da. Because it is just looping. It's a loop. So they don't have any true consciousness. They're not sentient. They're just basically programmed people. And just be careful, because a lot of, it's like Westworld, a lot of people after Cucarachis, when they transcended, a lot of people were replaced with NPCs, and you don't know it, or robotoids. So you have people walking around who you think are family members, and you don't realize a real family member probably died, and there was a replication that happened like Westworld, and they were replaced. So now you're talking to your family member, you're like, why do you seem so different? Like you never used to eat chicken. I thought you were allergic to mushrooms. Like, oh, I got over it. You know, oh, really? And all of the updates that happen in this simulation. You know, you have all the updates where things are changing. Like I talked about the Mandela effect just being updates in the simulation. So, you know, I found this out, like, what was it, last year? That whenever we have a Mandela effect, like something changes, a slight difference in spelling and so on, that's an update in the simulation, like a video game, like an update. So it updates and then it changes something small, alters it. Okay? So you have these beings walking around. You got to be careful, because, and you know, people are like, oh, you're mentally ill. Yes, I am mentally ill, living in a simulated world with psychopaths and sociopaths. I don't know who could be sane living in here. You got a whole cosplaying man-woman online doing spells on me because she's mad I'm a real woman and I don't have to wear fake hair and makeup and purse my lips and talk and try to convince people how to mistreat sexes. She did a whole spell on me, and she didn't think I know, but I know what you did, you dastardly charade. I know what you did. You're going to get it back too. The gift keeps on giving. You want to give a gift to me and my family? Well,